So this right here is the solenoid. You have to order this next to the kit if you want to mount the tank in the trunk. So that's that. I'll take it out of the packaging to show you. So this is the loose solenoid, nothing special. This just makes sure the water and meth can't keep flowing through the line, so it closes the line when you need to stop injecting it. If you mount the tank in the trunk, you have the possibility that the meth, once it's activated, it keeps on running and drains the tank. So that is what this is for. Then another thing I did, this right here. I mounted the gauge into the air vent. So I got this special thing right here I ordered on the internet. I don't know the name. Let me see if I can find it and I'll put it in the description. So I put that in here. It's still loose. In the end, when everything is set, I'm gonna glue this in, I think. And what I did, I drilled a hole here in the bottom. I put all the wires into this, I don't know how to call it. It shrinks when you heat it. So you probably know what it is. And then this is gonna get mounted back into the vent. And the cable's gonna come out exactly where they need to be, so that's good. So that's another thing I did. So as you can see, the tank is already installed. What we did to the tank, down there's a little, I don't know how to call that. You have to use the adhesive they give you, turn this in. I wanted it pointing that way, so I left it like that and let it dry for 24 hours. Then in the back, I don't know if you can see it, maybe you have to do it, put this forward a little bit. Right there is the meter for the tank to see if it's full or not. It's I think 15 or 16 millimeter hole you have to drill. And then you can just put that in, turn it. It's really easy. It's all in the description. So what we did here, you put your fingers under here and you pull it up, nice and easy. You can pull this up all the way. I think I pulled it up until here. I took out the rear seat and then I just put it into the side plastic underneath, lined it, pulled it through here. Then I just run it all the way through here and also through this piece. You can just put it underneath here, pull it up. And now it's, if you can see it, running there. It's going out of the firewall right there. And it goes out from the firewall, and then I just spun it up here. From here it can go to wherever you want to mount it. So yeah, that's where we left off. Tank is installed, pump is installed, line is all the way to the front. So what we're going to do next, install the solenoid, connect all the lines, and do the wiring. So the first thing we have to do to the solenoid is screw these things in. We gotta use the E6000. This tube is in the kit. So what you do, you just take a little of this adhesive, or how to call it, I don't know. Put that right here. All around there. I don't know if you can see that. And then what you do, you just push it in. Then you turn it. It's all in the description. So what they say, you have to tighten it halfway past hand tight. So let's just go to hand tight. So let's say that's hand tight for me, then I gotta turn it all the way down. I think my hand tight is a little bit tighter than normal. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't wanna break it. So that should be good. The adhesive is all around. So the next thing we do, gonna do the same for this part. Because there's two of these. Make sure this is out, this is in. There's no difference between those things, but when you feed the line, make sure the tank is coming from this way, going in, and then out from that way. So I'm gonna do this one too, and then I'll get back to you. So that's it, they're both in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave this to dry for 1 day. I don't know how long this has to dry, but I don't have to install this today, so I'll just leave it for a day. If you wanna put this on the car faster, then you'll have to see how fast this E6000 dries. I have no idea. But let's go to the next step. So I'm gonna switch to this part real fast, because I don't really like this look right here when I'm driving around. So I'm just gonna put this back in, put the little cover over it. First thing I'm gonna do, I got a little light on my phone right there. You see the hole in the top left of your screen. I'm gonna feed the cables through there to get them there. So when you push it in, these things are gonna click, make it go into place right there. Now I really hope when I pull this spaghetti through there that it's all gonna fit, because it was just a wild guess where to drill the hole. I could have measured it, but I didn't. So I gotta be honest with you guys, for a wild guess it's pretty accurate. As you can see, it comes out the hole, goes straight up into the air vent. So I'm pretty happy with that fitment. There's one little vacuum line inside that inside there, so you don't want it to be bent. So because I didn't show you how to take this piece off, I'm going to show you where the clips are. So this is how it goes on there. So as you can see, right there, 2 clips. Then on the top part, 2 clips. The lower part, 2 clips on the sides, and also there 2 clips, right here and there. So like I told you, it's in there like there. You put a little plastic thing between there, the special plastic things to remove trim. You pull it up there a little bit, then you take out the side cover, and then with 2 fingers from in here you push up on these 2 clips, and that is this one and the one above. I can't point that, but you know what I mean. So that's it, then you pull it off. So I hope clicking this back in is just as easy, but it's hard for me to hold the GoPro and put this in. So let me just try without the GoPro and tell you how it worked. So as you can see, it's in. Always the things that seem the least work take the longest. I wouldn't get it in to fit correctly. Every time I got it in, this right here didn't work anymore. It got pushed down. So it's I think the best option is when you have everything still pulled out, you put on this part, and then you try to push in the whole unit. Now I don't know if this works. The way I did it when this was already in was really hard, because there's a little edge around here that needs to be exactly on this spot. It's just hard to wiggle it around and get it to fit. This didn't work, it got jammed every time. So what I did, I put a screwdriver. I think you can't see it, but there's a little hole right here where you can push the whole vent up from the inside. I pushed that up and pushed this under, and then it fitted. It took me about 20 minutes of pulling it off, putting it back in to get it to work, but it's in now. So to install a solenoid, push on this one, put that thing on there, make sure it's all the way up, tighten it, use two wrenches, one on here and one on there, so you don't put stress on this one. So the next step, I installed these with the E6000, so two on that one and then this one. Make sure this one is with the filter to the inside, so not with the filter to the outside. So you got the little hole up there. Same story, just put the E6000 around them and then turn them in. So I got that nipple from Snow Performance. It's to make the injector sit in a silicone hose or in aluminium housing. So the bottom piece goes on the inside and then you turn on that piece. So let's try to install that on a silicone hose before the inlet. But I'm first going to take off the pipe. So for the next step, we're under the car again. I'm going to take off this bottom plate again. It's pretty easy. Just look at where all the screws are. I think it's T25 Torx. Yep, I think so. So there's a few on this side and a few on this side, and I think one over here in the middle. Take that off. I'm gonna take off the tube that goes to the inlet to make the adapter in there. Let me show you the adapter. So this is the pipe I'm gonna take off. So I'm gonna loosen that, and then up here between there in the middle of your screen there's a bolt that's connected to the pipe. I'm going to take that out. So this one is loose, and the one let me see, it's this one, it's loose. Make sure you also take off this plug, and then there's another bolt between here, so you can't see it on the GoPro, but it's that one right there. You have to loosen, and then it's loose. So now I'm going to try to pull it down. So now you can see it better. There's a bolt, there's one there, that's the plug, this is the whole piece, and here's where I'm going to mount the VME adapter in this hose. So this is the silicone hose adapter. This goes in the hose, then you can put your tool in here, I don't know how to call it, and then you can put on this ring right here to clamp it down from the outside, and that is what's going in there. That's the nozzle. So what I'm going to do first is going to check out how I'm going to drill this hole, because I'm not an expert in drilling in silicone hoses. So what I did, I got 1 meter of silicone hose right here. I cut off a piece. Then I'm going to try some different drills. I'm going to try the triangular drill, you know, and the normal drill. See what works best. And then after test fitting on this, then I'm going to drill that one. So I'll show you how I do it in the end. So drilling the hole with a normal drill, you get a hole like this. All the threads are still inside. It's really hard to get or all the wires, or how to call it. It's hard to get that thing inside. So what I did, I used this machine. It's a high RPM spinning, I don't know how to call it, tool thingy. I put that, this is like a stone piece. And then what I did, I just put it in. It turns so hard that it starts melting and burning the stuff away. And then it's starting to look like this. This was the first try. This was the second try. Here I can fit it through, and it fits good. So what I do, I drill it a little bit smaller here, and now I'll finish it with that. So only drilling will not work, at least not for me. So that's it. That's the result. The adapter inside of the hose. As you can see, it's clamping down on the inside, and also on the outside it's pretty much pressing on the hose on all sides. So I don't think it will leak. I have to clean this up a little. I put some Loctite between there because I don't want that thing falling in. But on the other side, from this side, you also turn in the nipple. So that's another way how you can make sure the thing don't come loose and fall into the hose. So they thought about it, but still I put some Loctite between there just to be sure. Don't want that metal ring in my engine. But I'm pretty sure it's designed well enough. So now it's time to mount this thing in here with some E6000 again. It comes with the kit. When that's mounted, I will mount the fuel line, or the methanol line, or how the hell you want to call it. I'll mount that up there, and then I'm going to install it back on that pipe, put the pipe back on the car, put the plug on, tighten the bolts, then it's all already down there. And then the next step is put on that little one-way, where is it, this thing. So since yesterday we put on the pipe. It was a lot of work, because that clamp right there, we need to put it on from up here. And as you can see, it's almost impossible. So it took like 1 hour. But we got it on. It's in the hose. And this is the feed line. And we got this thing right here. I just tie ripped it. And then it's going back to the pump. So now let's do the wiring. So now we're gonna start with the wiring. I got all the wires from the gauge here going through the vent, coming down here. So we got all these colors. This one is the vacuum hose. So that needs to connect to somewhere where the boost is. So I'll show you how I do that. I'll put this one behind these covers and out of that hole somewhere there. So that is the thick black one. And then we got some more colors. So down here, all the black with the little triangle below, I don't know if you can see it, is ground. So we just put that to the bodywork somewhere. It has to touch the metal. Then it's pretty easy. You just follow the lines where they go. As you can see, the yellow here is explained down here. That's for the solenoid. Then the other one on the solenoid is also ground. So it's pretty easy. So just pause the screen if you need to. Probably if you have the kit you have the book, but this is the way to wire it. I'll show you how I do it and how I take off the trim and everything, but that's the way to do it. So what I did now, I took loosened this. Just put your fingers under here and pull it up. It should click. As you can see, there's those little click thingies that go into those slots. You can just pull that up. And what I did, I got 3 meters of wire. Try to get the colors they say on the instruction, but it couldn't get purple, so I just changed it in the book to gray. So what I'm gonna do, first I'm gonna put 3 meters back to the trunk, because you need 3 wires in the trunk if you do the same setup like me. As you can see, one wire green has to go to the pump, then the wire purple, which I made gray, has to go to the reservoir, to that little thing right there, to show you if it's empty. And then the last thing is the yellow one that's going to the solenoid. So that's all in the trunk for me. So I have to put 3 wires through the car and into the trunk. So I'm in the back of the car now. I put the seats to the front, so it gives me a little bit more room. This is where the cables have to go through. So I don't want to remove all this trim right here. So what I did, I just loosened this like I said. And I'm going to try to put the wires in here and try to get them out from under the seat. It's the same way I put in the other line, but the retard I am, I just closed everything back before putting the wires there. So we have to do it again. The couch you already know. Just pull it up right here. There's one click thing. And on this side it's the same. Pull it up. As you can see, it's quite easy. Now you push it back a little and you can lift it. So I'll do that off camera and see if I can get the wires through. So as you can see, that's out. Like I said, right here are the pins. You have to push it back a little and pull it up. Make sure you get out these corners. Make sure you get out those when you put it back, so it's quite easy. What you can see right here, here's the gap I'm talking about. So with this wire, the fuel line, as I should call it, you can see it's all the way from back, the plastic here, going all the way back in there. But for the wires, like you can see, there's some room under the seat, so I'm not gonna do it all the way back there. I'm just gonna try to pull this to the side like this, as far as possible, put in the 3 wires, and then see if I can locate them here, pull them back up, then I'll just put them straight here and underneath there. So it's quite easy. What I did, I taped the 3 wires. Wait, let me show you. So as you can see, the first part, I just put some duct tape around it on a few places, so it's easier to get them through all at once. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna start here, pull that back as far as I can, put it in, pull it back up from there. So I try to feed it through, but it's kind of hard because it doesn't go through here as easy. So what you do then is pull up this little thing, it just clicks out, and as you can see now it's all the way off. So now I can just put it through easy. So don't waste your time trying to put it through there. Just pull up this pin and then you can just remove it all, put it through here easy. So the next step I did, I took off this cover, this little pin at my thumb. You can pull that back, and then you can pull this lever off. Then it's still stuck on one little screw. If you got it up here, you'll see there's a little hole there. In that hole there's this. There's one little black cap. You can just put your screwdriver under it to pop it off, and then there's just this plastic screw under there. Loosen that, and then if this and everything is clicked out, you can just wiggle it out, and then you have all the room. So now you can just put the wires from back there down through here. It's way easier than trying to feed everything through. So I got all cables stripped. So you just take off a little bit of the plastic to expose the wire. I did that with all wires I want to connect to each other. Then I put on a little bit of, I don't know how to call it, but you know what this is. It shrinks when you heat it. Then I'm gonna put on a little bit of this, I don't know how to call it, right there. And then I'm gonna solder it with this solder stuff. Then shrink this around it. So it's a nice seal. Make sure when you connect them, it's really hard to show while holding the camera. Just make a cross. Just make a cross somewhat like this, and then turn the cables into each other, so you'll already have a little bit of a strong connection, and then start soldering it. So the black wire we connected to that screw right there with one of those round clips which you squeeze on, and the red wire my brother made a fuse, so he put on those 2 things, put a fuse on there, and then put it in the fuse box. Then the wire I tie it down, so if it ever gets loose it cannot hit any metal parts. So that's the red and black, and these are all to the back, like I showed you. To take out this thing, just squeeze the sides. The clips are on the side, so when it's in there you just squeeze that inward on one side, click it out, and then on the other side. So now I'm going to put everything back together and go to the engine bay. So that's that. just push this back in, push this back in. This you just line the clips with the holes. Just start on this side, pull one of the clips in front of the hole and just tap it. Then there's like 3, something like that. This thing right here is also back in place. Make sure you first put it under here, then put this side next to that pedal looking thing, click it in there. Make sure this is still loose so you can click that under, and then you just put in the little plastic screw again, and then that's that. Put this back on, and then everything's closed off. On the back also everything is done. I had to turn this around, so I have to look in the video how I said it should be in there, but I had it now that it dropped down. So I was thinking when the fuel gets low it will drop down, but it should be the other way around. So it floats, and then when it gets straight, then you get the signal. So make sure that thing is not in here to drop, but it's in here other way around to float. And then when it gets empty it goes down, then you get the signal. So make sure that's in the correct way. Then I just put all the lines together. Still a mess. I'll clean it up, but it works. So that's that. So everything is installed right now, except for the boost wire, because I have to take off that bend right there coming from the turbo, and I have to install my blow-off or diverter valve, and from there I have a exit that where I can put the boost hose on. So that I'll do later. Just make sure to put this on a boost source, so it can measure the boost coming from the turbo. So that's the only thing you'll have to figure out yourself. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna cut this thing loose again, take off one of the sides, then I'm gonna use some distilled water, and I'm gonna test the system. So there's a P button on the gauge. I think it's the left red button, where you can activate the pump shortly to see if to prime the system, to make sure it's the water and meth is running. Normally you should do it with your car running, but I'm just gonna loosen the front part. So the P right there is the prime button. I'm gonna try it right now. It should prime the system, so it will run it shortly for 100%. I took off a hose in the front, like I said, so the water comes out there. I only put in water, distilled water, or how to call it. And after that I will connect the hose again. So this is, I think, the only way to test it, with taking off the hose and priming it to see if it runs. So just do that before you start using it, and then connect everything, and then it's done. So while I was testing the system, priming it didn't work. So I started looking back at the drawing, and you can see the yellow is going to the solenoid, but in a two nozzle situation. But it says solenoid right there, so I just put it on the solenoid. But I think it's not working because of that. I think the yellow is only really for the dual setup. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wire the green to the pump and the solenoid. So I'm going to split that up, connect it to the solenoid, take away the yellow wire, and try to prime it in that way, see if it works. So I tested it now, and this was the solution. So you need to do the green to the solenoid and the red of the pump, so it switches both the solenoid and the pump on. So the yellow wire is all for nothing. You can take it back out. I'll mention this in the beginning of the video, but I put the yellow wire in there for nothing. But yeah, that's details. I do these things so you don't have to make these mistakes. I'll take that out someday, but now it worked fine, so that's good. So that everything works, I'm gonna finish up the video. So like you can see, the P button is the purge or the prime button, which you can test the system with. I just did it. and there was water coming from the hose, so that's good. Then you have this arrow button right here, and that's just a menu button. Sorry, this is to see where you want to start the injection, at how many bars of boost. And in the next one is when you want to have the full injection. Then this one is for if you have a second nozzle. So that was the yellow wire that I mistaked for the solenoid wire, because they call it a solenoid as well. But I'm not using two nozzles, so it's on off. Then the next one, you can just switch the text color by using up and down. I like the blue because of the dash of the Golf R, also has the blue needles and everything. And then in the next one you can select the color for the graph. I'm gonna keep it on red, I think it's cool. So that's it for that. It's done. Thanks for watching. Don't make the yellow wire mistake like I did, but I'll take that out someday. So next video maybe will be the dyno, and maybe not, we'll see. I still have to do the diverter valve, so probably that I'll show also in a video. So next video will probably be the diverter valve, and then after that it's gonna be dyno day. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.